Clearly, okay?
I have.
Oh,
Your Honor, they're arguing for something saying we've been on notice from the beginning. And if they wanted to put on the evidence to prove up provocation, all they had to do was call Mr. Zeminski or Mrs. Zeminski to rebut the story that we have. They didn't put them on because Detective Antaramian, Detective Howard both know he's a liar. And they're building their whole prosecution on that without putting them on.
well, they don't have to call a particular witness.
But they don't have the provocation. And, you know, we had all these little things going on yesterday, and I went back to my office, and the whole essence of the problem came down to these two facts in the testimony. Examiner Armstrong took 20 hours to manipulate that photograph to get that blurry mess up on the screen. We had our expert do it right in front of the jury in seconds, and it showed what it was. And that's where the hocus pocus and adding the pixels and all the other garbage comes in, and that's what they're building their prosecution on.
Again, we're focusing on a picture that is the. Again, we're focusing on a picture that I have said repeatedly now is the least. The least.
Well, show me the best one.
What?
Show me the best one.
Your Honor, yesterday, before Mr. Armstrong was allowed to testify in rebuttal, we went over this about whether or not the methods he was using were appropriate, and we showed you. You walked up to the 4K TV, and we showed you exactly what it is we're talking about.
And I'm not even going to tell you what I thought when I saw it.
And Judge, this is not a court trial. You're not the finder of fact. We have facts.
I know it, and that's why I let it go to the jury.
We have.
So we're asking.
That's what we're asking, is that the jury be allowed to consider the state's evidence, is essentially what we're asking.
I don't think, Your Honor, you would have allowed Mr. Armstrong to testify yesterday. I don't think you would have allowed him to testify in rebuttal unless you had made some determination that there was some basis for this.
What I made a determination was that I thought the jury should make the decision.
And that's all we're asking.
So that's your best picture, the one I saw over there?
No.
Where's the best picture, please?
That we'll show it to the finder of fact.
You're asking me to give an instruction. I want to see the best picture.
It's the.
We need to get Mr. Stude over here, I think.
You need it on the big TVs.
You need it on the big TV?
Are you talking
All
about
right,
82?
bring it up if you would.
What is that?
82 is the slow.
No, I think the best picture is on the original drone or the normal speed one.
73, you say so.
Judge, I think using the defense, we've got the exhibits on our one of our laptops that I think Mr. Stude has. I've texted him to come on over, but I think Ms. Wisco is graciously going to be able to play them for you. I would recommend watching them on the 4K TV. I think that's the best way to see them. So we can set that up. There is the full drone footage. There is the slowed down drone footage. And then, of course, we have the photographs that Mr. Armstrong had yesterday. So. They're on your desk. Yeah. They're on your desk. Yeah. Judge, again, I would recommend, like yesterday, coming and watching on 4K TV.
Which adds pixels if it's not 4K quality.
What's that?
Is it this TV
It's your TV.
adds pixels to something unless it's 4K quality? It does
Where's
next
the
to me.
evidence on that?
It's common sense and judgment, Jim.
There's no evidence on that.
Are you saying I'm lying?
I have no idea.
I'm saying there's no evidence on that.
I'm asking.
But
I'm
it'd
saying
be
there's no
another,
evidence.
Well, it's common
Questionable argument.
sense.
You brought in this TV to show the exhibits. You
Yeah,
brought in the
4K
TV.
drone.
You brought in the TV to show the exhibits. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my place phones.
You want us to use Mr. Marciano's pointer to show you exactly where we're...
Something's up there.
Okay, I'll
Just
grab
use
it.
your hand. Okay.
This is the unedited.
Okay.
Is this unedited?
Yeah, this is the unedited.
73.
So Judge, we're going to be focusing your attention right here at the base of this
Right.
sign. Okay, that's where the defendant is going to come into. Go ahead. Okay, you can stop because we're past it now. I don't think this is the same quality as our version, is it? Yeah.
Our version is much clearer.
Yeah.
We'll have to get our.
I have the enhanced one, I can play as well, but that is exactly what we got from you. I downloaded it straight from Dropbox.
Yeah. Mr. Stude's coming
So
over.
what you're showing me now is, this doesn't show anything. This is what was provided to the defense?
Yes.
Mr. Stude's on his way. You hear it?
Is this the zoomed in or the regular?
This is the regular version.
So we're looking right here. This is the defendant. He puts it down. He raises it up right there. He has it pointed until Rosenbaum approaches. Then he runs around.
Try it again, please.
Play it
Try
again, please.
And can you slow it down?
We have a
Not
slow.
in this version. We have a different version of this.
That's what you watched yesterday.
Go ahead and start.
Right here is the gun. Right there is the gun right here. Oh, wait, no. It looks very similar to that when he points it here, Mr. Rosenbaum.
Let's see again, Judge.
One more time.
Sorry, one more time.
Here, Stu, let me pause it 1 second in, please.
Start playing.
Pause.
Pause.
Right here. If you watch it, when he goes right up here, he puts the fire extinguisher down gently. It topples over, and then he immediately raises up like this. And the gun is right, we argue, right here. And he stays in this position like this until you see Mr. Rosenbaum come around. So Mr. Rosenbaum, if he is yelling gun, 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 we would argue it's to warn all these people that he is pointing a gun at them, and that he is chasing him out of the area to avoid danger. But if you see right here, the state believes, with all the motions taken, that's the gun. And here's it's right here.
Is that where Mr. Rosenbaum yells, "You're not going to do shit, MFer"?
We can talk about this on closings. You want?
I was just curious.
What's that?
I said I was just
All right.
curious.
All right.
So why don't you play it from the beginning one more time? You see him drop it right there as Mr. Rosenbaum approaches. or lower it, I should say. Would you like the zoomed in or slowed down one?
I'd like to see the enhanced one now.
In normal speed or slow speed? Do the zoom in normal speed.
Zoomed in normal speed.
Do you need a number?
Yeah, I think it's 81 and then 82. Right. 81 first. Yeah, 81 first, then 82.
So this is slightly cropped and normal speed.
But the court reporter wants to use the wireless mic.
Oh, so this is the defendant right here. You can see the AR-15 is on his chest. The fire extinguisher you can't see right now because it's blocked by this man in the wheelchair. But you'll see him walk up again. He will gently place the fire extinguisher on the ground, although it will fall over, and then he will immediately raise his gun up and point it at the individuals who are over here, who I think are right now blocked by this street light. But they're the Zeminskis. Okay, go, Brian. See him lift it right there. He's holding it right there until Mr. Rosenbaum approaches. You see the very distinct motion of him raising his arms, and you see the black gun being raised. One more time, please.
You'd agree if that's true, he's doing it open to the camera,
Well,
so
you know what?
No, I would not say that.
it's okay.
So here's the gun. Puts it down and raises it right here. He still has it up right there, and then he drops it and runs. Would you like the slowed down version?
Yeah, please.
Slowed down version, please. So here's the defendant here. There's the AR-15 right there. Play it, please. So he's coming into frame. He drops the fire extinguisher and he raises it right up. He has it up right there. You see him bring it down, and you see him start to run. He's pointing it at Joshua Zeminski, who probably is vandalizing or committing arson, but that's another.
Where's Zeminski's gun?
We don't believe he has his gun out at that point.
Wait a minute. What?
He fires it.
I didn't hear what the judge
What, I'm sorry?
I said, where's Zeminski's gun? What I meant to say was, does it depict Mr. Zeminski or
Shooting?
Mr. Zeminski's gun?
Right.
At this point, no. It does show him shoot in the air.
Oh, that's over later, over there.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about at this point.
I don't believe it shows Mr. Zeminski's gun.
Does it show Mr. Zeminski?
Can you play it again, Brian? He's kind of
Or
hidden.
Mrs. Zeminski?
They're kind of hidden by this light
I
post.
know, that's what everybody is saying. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Is it okay? Do you need me to record this? Because
Um,
I'm not getting judge what you were saying.
Yeah, because it's argument.
Can you,
What I have inquired is, well, go ahead.
go ahead. No, just go ahead.
Okay, what I'm inquiring is whether what I'm looking at now depicts
you want to show them?
Mr. and/or Mrs. Zeminski, and if Mr. Zeminski, whether or not it depicts the firearm, that he is reported to have fired seconds later.
Where the Zeminskis are?
It's very hard to see them because they're dark against the dark Duramax. So.
Yeah, we only know they're there because of the FBI video. You can kind of see they're blurry. We did not try to do any enhancements on that.
Yeah. I mean, we know from the FBI video.
I can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
We know from the FBI video, Your Honor, that they're in this proximity alongside the Duramax, but because they're darker clothed and the Duramax is a dark vehicle, and of course other issues with the video, it's not, and there's poles and things, so they're in that vicinity. The FBI video, which we can show you, does give you.
I've seen it.
It might be helpful after seeing this now to see that because it kind of gives you a better visual. So,
If you play it, I think I can play it, please, Brian.
go ahead, play it, Brent.
And be sure if you're going to speak into a microphone.
I believe
There's, I think,
they're blocked by the light post, but they are right here.
I think this is one of them here. Moving. It's very hard to tell in this video.
But then they walk down this way, and this is where he pull. We don't accept the defendant's story that he had his gun out, because in the video you clearly see Mr. Zeminski pull it out of his pocket, fire in the air, and then put it right back in his pocket. So unless he had the gun out and then put it in his pocket in these few feet, we're not accepting the defendant's story. In fact, we believe this contradicts his story that Mr. Zeminski had his gun already out, because you see on the next enhanced video, you see him pull it out of his pocket and fire it in the air quick and then put it down.
He keeps it down on his side. He's walking right down the sidewalk yelling, "That dude just shot somebody." You can see the gun clearly in his hand.
No.
Well,
Not
I
in this
guess
video.
sounds like a
So the state's position is that Anderson is very strictly relevant only to a statement of a witness or defendant.
By the way, what about, I now have had the chance during the break to read the defendant's motion for dismissal,
Yes.
and there are allegations made there about the material that was provided to them.
Yes.
Certainly if I follow through on what you want, I think I warned the other day because I was queasy, very queasy about this particular exhibit of from the drone, and we exchanged a lot of emails over the weekend about it. And I think I warned you the other day that you're putting an awful lot of emphasis on this, and if it turns out that it's not technologically sound, this is, I referred to it as the situation as a house of cards. This is just more weight on that. If I now allow them to review it without restriction as to the number of times,
Judge,
you're comfortable with that?
we are. Now, if I can respond at least to that portion of the motion to dismiss, it's factually inaccurate. So let me go back to the first Friday of trial. Mr. Lukowski was testifying. In the middle of his testimony, I got a notification that there was someone at our office who was refusing to give his name with a drone video. This drone video was shown on Fox News a couple days after the incident. It apparently was on the internet briefly and then taken down. The defendant's first attorney, Mr. Pierce, appeared on the Tucker Carlson show and discussed the video and seemingly brought the video. We've been told since then by the person who took the footage that they've sold the video to Fox News. Now, we've had a poor quality of this video the entire time. It's actually in Exhibit 41, which the defense submitted. On Friday, the individual who took the footage, who had been unable to find, came and airdropped the footage to Detective Howard. Airdropping is a way that it just goes from phone to phone. It doesn't go through text messages or email. It has to be iPhone to iPhone. So in the middle of Mr. Lukowski's testimony, I asked Mr. Howard to go, and our investigator, to go speak with this individual and see what he had. I suspected it was this video from the Tucker Carlson show. It was. Detective Howard got a airdropped copy. He brought it into court. As soon as the next break happened, which I believe was just minutes after he arrived, as soon as the next break occurred, which I believe was just minutes after Detective Howard arrived, I took all three defense attorneys in the back to discuss a couple of issues which are not relevant, and I also indicated that we now had a much better quality drone video. Detective Howard asked them how they would like to receive it. Ms. Wisco asked that it be emailed to her. He emailed her the file. Now, somewhere along the lines, whether it was, it appears the issue is, I believe Ms. Wisco could not have an airdrop because she has an Android phone. Going from an iPhone to an Android, it appears somehow compressed the file.
I have an Android phone too.
We did not know that this would occur. If I knew how to compress files and knew all this technology things, I'd have a much better job. So this file was given to us. We gave what we fully believed was the full file to Ms. Wisco. It was admitted to evidence. It was the authenticity was stipulated to. It came in without objection. We've heard many times this trial how there was no objection. It was an exhibit for 4 days and played and shown to the jury and on the screen for 4 days. And then on Friday is when I think we all discovered that something had happened to Ms. Wisco's file. She played it on the big screen. It clearly looked different than the copy we all had. I believe we offered to airdrop it to the other attorneys, and I think it was declined because they didn't know how to use airdrop. And then we got her the full copy. We cannot be held responsible for the software on Ms. Wisco's phone. We didn't compress anything. We didn't change anything. That would have been something that happened in the transfer that we had no knowledge of. We of course did not mean to give them a different copy, and until Friday when Ms. Wisco played it and it looked different than what we've been looking at, we had no idea it was any different. And then when requested, I gave her, so what I did is I took an email from Detective Howard. He emailed me the file. It was not compressed. I don't know, probably because it's Apple to Apple, or I was using Gmail at the time. It was the full, as far as we know, the only copy of the video we were ever given, the only copy that's ever been had, and then I put it on a thumb drive to give to the State Crime Lab. So I cannot explain why Ms. Wisco's file had been compressed. That is not something that we can be held accountable for. We didn't know it. We don't, and if Ms. Wisco knew it, it wasn't brought up until Friday. Now, there was some dispute Friday about there being different copies. There was no different copy. The software on Ms. Wisco's phone, or whatever software she used to view it, compressed the file. The only compressed file is the one Ms. Wisco has. All the ones that we have seen, and we did not alter the file. None of us know how to alter the file. None of us know how to compress the file. We wouldn't have had time to do so. You can probably go back on the footage and see when Mr. Howard, Detective Howard brings it in, and while Mr. Lukowski is being questioned, we're looking at it to see if it's the drone footage that apparently the defendant's first attorney had or was aware of. And I understand he has different attorneys now, but this is still the defendant's attorney at the time knew of this 3 days after the incident and was talking about it on national television. So to somehow now accuse us of compressing a file and somehow being able to do this technical wizardry to somehow sabotage the defense is preposterous. The defense saw this video and thought highly enough of it that they went and bought a large television that is now being used in court because they wanted to show it. And now all of a sudden to come back and say, well, we had a bad copy, they could have checked, they could have asked for a thumb drive, they could have asked for whatever. As far as we knew until we had this hearing on Friday, everyone had the exact same copy. And that Ms. Wisco's phone.
Well, no, one at a time. One at a time. Well, why don't you start, Ms. Wisco?
Can you talk into a microphone?
Yes. On November 5th, 2021, I received at 10:33 a.m. an email from Detective Martin Howard with one video file attached. It was a 4 millibyte video that was titled IMG_0159.MOV. I have never looked at that video on my cell phone. As soon as I received that video via email, I downloaded it to this laptop, which is the evidentiary laptop we've been using through the duration of this trial.
What manufacturer is that?
This is a Lenovo.
Okay, good.
And I relabeled it after it had been brought into evidence by the state as Exhibit 73 because it was Exhibit 73 for ease for bringing it up, showing it to the jury. After we found out in Friday that there was this discrepancy after the videos being shown, and for the record, we did not buy that TV because of this drone video. We actually brought it in for John Black's slowed down testimony. That was the reason we brought this TV in. However, when we were in court, I played the Exhibit 73 on my computer because the state's computer wasn't here. ADA Kraus was the one who brought up the fact this isn't the good quality video. We didn't realize until playing them side by side, mine and then the state's, that there was any difference in quality. That was Friday. After Friday happened, I emailed both Binger and ADA Kraus, and I asked for an exact forensic copy of what they had given to the state crime lab. ADA Kraus responded back to me, forwarded me the email he's talking about to Detective Howard, and that also contained one file named as IMG_0159.MOV that was a 4 megabyte file. Simultaneously, ADA Binger had been in contact with me, told me I could come pick up the file from a flash drive. I drove here, I had him take me inside, and I confirmed that this file that he said was directly provided to the state crime lab was an 11 megabyte file, not 4. So the information contained in the flash drive was over double the size, almost 3 times the size as to what was emailed to me. When ADA Kraus followed up to me with that email, forwarding me his email from Detective Howard, it was the same 4 millibyte file that I had gotten previously.
So clearly, Attorney Wisco's email is compressing these files. That's not our responsibility. Oh, I didn't write Outlook software.
You know what?
I forwarded
But
the.
wait a minute, I don't know if she had finished.
No. Every other piece of evidence from the state crime lab in this situation has been provided to us via Dropbox. Dropbox provides an exact forensic copy of what they have. The file title name in this situation should have been exactly the same as the one provided to the state if it was the exact same copy. The file name was nowhere near similar. The one that was provided to the state's crime lab that Attorney Binger gave me a copy of on Saturday had a very long, convoluted title that involves lots of letters and numbers that are the type that are usually associated with files taken from a drone because they indicate a lot of different information like the location of the drone and the time. The file I received originally on Friday the 5th was not labeled that same and was not the same file amount. There's no way that what ADA Kraus is saying is true because the file name would not have changed if my computer was compressing anything. It was a different file that we were provided from what was provided to the state, at least for what Attorney Binger gave me on Saturday. They're completely different.
I think we're confusing the issue here. The work product of the State Crime Lab is sent via Dropbox. That's how they've submitted all the videos that they worked on and the photos they worked on. The email from my personal Gmail account is the file that went to the State Crime Lab. I was told to bring it to the State Crime Lab. I was already home on Saturday. I did not have access to anything but my computer. I had Detective Howard email it to me, and I put it on a thumb drive at home, and I took it to the crime lab. I don't know if Mr. Binger somehow retitled it, but the image I gave the crime lab is on my phone as the title that she indicated. That was the one that went to the crime lab, and I will testify as an officer of the court. I take offense that what I'm saying is untrue. Clearly,
well, obviously we're going to have to take this testimony under oath, and we're going to have to get somebody to explain all this, who has some competence, which...
If you look at the report from the State Crime Lab, they indicate the originating file that they received was the one with the expanded title that we did not receive until Saturday. If it had been the same file as 88 Kraus says it is, why wasn't that labeled on their receipt as being IMG 059 or 159?
Mr.
If that
Kraus?
is the exact same thing, then that does not add up.
Mr. Kraus?
Why did he include in his report a different title?
I'm looking at the email. It is image0159.mov. When it's downloaded to computer, perhaps it has a different title. On my phone and on my Gmail, that is the image. I'm watching the video right now. This is the precise one that was given to the State Crime Lab. I had no other access. At this point, the first time this was ever put on any kind of hard drive is when I did it Saturday at my home. And I'll do a little experiment here. I'll save it to my computer and see if the title changes. But
We're going to do this. Pardon me?
I accidentally saved it 3 times because I was trying to re-download it multiple times, and it all saved it as IMG 0159.
Okay. Well, you know what? We can't resolve this now because this is going to require expert testimony from people, and we're going to have to take testimony under oath as what the facts are, and so that I'll reiterate my comment, which started this discussion, which was that given the cloudy picture about this particular exhibit, this is a high-risk strategy for the state. I was queasy about this from the beginning, and I'm only queasier about it now.
Judge, what we propose is to show the jury the exhibits. I'm really not concerned about the image. As I've said multiple times, I believe I believe much too much has been made of this image. Mr. Binger didn't even mention it in his closing. We didn't show it in either our closing or rebuttal. The other evidence was admitted without objection with a stipulation to authenticity, and I believe it should be played. It's already been played for the jury, and they should be brought down, and we can put all the other exhibits on a thumb drive outside of 160, what is it? outside of Exhibit 155, which is the image that the court is received over objection. But the other exhibits were not objected to. And again, the defense, although a prior attorney, had access to this video 3 days after the incident. So to now claim that they are somehow prejudiced is preposterous. I understand it's previous counsel, but it is still the defendant's attorney. He was charged with this crime, and if Attorney Pierce did not turn something over that he had and that he seemingly brought to the Tucker Carlson show, that also is not our responsibility.
Your Honor, can I briefly respond to that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Pierce was my client's attorney. As Mr. Kraus said, Tucker Carlson purchased that video. That video is very different from the video that was delivered here in quality, color, there. We stipulated to the video based upon what they gave us. We didn't see it as anything different. We were given...
I want to stop you now.
Okay.
Because why do you say that the one that Mr. Carlson bought, Tucker Carlson bought, is different from...
It's black and white.
Ah, that was, okay. Go ahead.
And we stipulated to that video when we looked at our copy because it didn't add anything except color. We didn't have the quality. And that's where this whole problem starts. And we weren't aware of the quality until after the evidence had closed on Friday, when we were here and it was plugged in as Ms. Wisco was saying. That's when we found out there was a problem, what had been given to us versus what they had. That's when the whole problem comes up. So that's as to that video. The other one, and I'll just say it because it's going to be an issue, FBI aerial with all POI'd marked. That, when we're going over this list, it's come to my attention. I played that for the jury. It never got marked or moved in, even though it's been played.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you,
Can we
Judge.
put it in evidence now?
That's what I think would be the proper way to do it.
If the defense agrees that all the drone videos go back, we will agree that that should be
I'm not
marked
going
in
to run a compromise.
evidence.
This isn't, let's make a deal here.
Well, they did not mark the evidence. They did not move it.
But it was played to the jury.
Yes, and not marked or moved.
I thought it was part of the hard drive because everything was going in.
And I thought we gave them a full and complete copy of the video. So,
Well, I'm going to reopen the evidence and admit what they saw. Give it the next sequential number.
well,
How can I not give it to them? You tell me.
I mean, then I would ask that evidence that's been admitted also go to the jury, that has been legally admitted in front of the jury, and follow the proper procedure.
Let's take one thing at a time.
Your Honor, just for the record as well, there was an additional difference that we found in the metadata between the two videos, is that if you look at the metadata from the file that we received from the state, is their create date is 11/5/2021 at 15:10:31. If you look at our video that we were provided, the metadata, the create time is 21 minutes and 19 seconds later.
Judge, we're looking at the Tucker Carlson interview with Attorney Pierce. It is not black and white, it is color, and it actually does seem to be high definition, like this video. We're watching, it's online, you can watch it.
The one I have is black and white.
Mr. Rittenhouse's attorney has seen the real version.
What about that? If his prior attorney, he's got it.